Welcome to Banff National Park. This is Canada's most famous national park, but one that I have a love-hate relationship with. On one hand, it's about as Canadian as it gets.
Well, I have arrived at a very large beaver dam.
But it's also everyone's favorite, which causes its own problems.
So, Tunnel Mountain is full, so I do not have a spot to camp in Banff.
I had a bad experience here last year, so I came back to chase a better one. And I'm happy to have you here with me on this trip through Banff National Park.
Okay, welcome back to the channel. I am currently in Kootenay National Park, and I am in the Stanley Glacier parking lot, as you can see. And I am about to go hiking. I have been chilling post Rockwall Trail. I've been chilling in Invermere/Radium. Went to the car show, soaked in the hot springs, and now I'm back in Kootenay Park, and I'm headed towards Alberta. I'm thinking Banff, but I'm not 100% sure where I'm going. But either way, as I drove back through Kootenay Park, I was able to pick up a hitchhiker to return the favor of getting a ride up to paint pots on the Rockwall Trail. But anyways, that's not what this is about. This is about me starting the Stanley Glacier Trail. I do not know much about it other than what was in my visitor guide, and it says hike up to a stunning alpine basin and watch for meltwater tumbling down massive rock walls. It is 4.4K one way with 385 meters of elevation. That is all I know about this trail. And I will say, this little sign here warns me that there may be undetonated explosives, which is worrisome. But other than that, I'm not worried, and I think this is gonna be awesome. I did talk to one stranger in the parking lot, and he said it was 100% worth it. And his tone made it sound like it was very worth it. So that's what I'm working with. So we're gonna go hike to find the Stanley Glacier, and then after that we'll move on to Alberta. But yeah, let's go.
So after another one of my famous way too long of an intro, I finally hit the trail. First thing I need to say is that I never did encounter any undetonated explosives, which was nice. In fact, this whole trail was nice. It was never too steep, but it was steep enough to get my legs working again after my big hike on the Rockwall Trail that I did before. I had just spent the past few days recovering in Radium, at the hot springs, wandering around their annual Columbia Valley car show, and falling in love with a British girl I met in a parking lot. But as always with van life, it was time to move on, and that means heading towards Banff in hopes of rewriting the history of last year's Banff experience.
Well, I have made it to the end of the trail, sort of. If you look, you can see a trail that leads up to the actual glacier. But this is the length of trail that they advertised in that little brochure information manual that I read. And honestly, it's as far as I'm gonna go. That looks very steep and unnecessary, so I'm not gonna do it. And I did hear some people somewhere. I have no idea where, but I could hear people out in the distance. Maybe it's an echo. Anyways, I could hear some people over there. At first I thought they had got to this little waterfall by scrambling, but I zoomed in on my phone, and I think what I thought was people are actually rocks. Who would have thought? Anyways, holy crap. I almost ate rocks right there. Anyways, I am here. It is very beautiful. So I'm gonna have a snack here, enjoy the view, and then I'm gonna hike down. It is not super late, but there's no real reason to just hang out here for a long time. I still got a decent amount to drive, and I do not really know where I'm camping. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this view a little longer, have some snacks, and yeah, we're going back to Alberta. So I'll see you in the van.
Once back at the van, I get on my way to Alberta. This will actually be the third time I've entered Alberta on this trip, and this is where I would normally say, that's at least 2 times too many. But since we're currently riding with that Team Canada spirit, I will instead say that I do in fact love my provincial neighbors, even when they're being mouthy online and threaten to secede from our country. Sorry, this is not a political show. I'll save that for the podcast.
So Two Jack Lake is full, so Banff is officially back on thin ice. I'm gonna go back to Tunnel Mountain and see what happens. I believe that is my only other opportunity, so hopefully it works out.
After striking out at 2-jack, memories of last year keep flooding back. If you're new here, I'll tell you that last year I got the very last campsite in Banff. I didn't like it, and it left a sour taste in my mouth. I was really hoping to cleanse that taste this year, but let's be real, absolutely nothing on this trip has gone according to plan, so that was very clearly not going to happen.
So, Tunnel Mountain is full, so I do not have a spot to camp in Banff. So, F Banff, I am moving on. I'm going to go down to Canmore and see what goes on. I don't really have any idea where I'm going to camp. We will have to figure it out as we go. If I have to drive to Calgary tonight, I'll drive to Calgary tonight. I do know I have a parking lot or a driveway I could stay in Calgary, but it doesn't really matter. I ain't staying in Banff, so I'm just going to hit the road again, and yeah, it is what it is.
As I hit the road again, I'm pretty disappointed. Striking out in Banff for the second year in a row is the exact opposite of what I had intended. I tried to right a wrong, but instead I compounded it. Dang.
Okay, current situation. I pulled up into a big gravel parking lot that looks like it would be a perfect spot for the night, and it actually has a decent view and bathrooms, but it does say day use on the sign, so I am going to respect that. The site was on iOverlander, but again, it does say day use on the sign, so I'm going to respect that. But on iOverlander, I found another spot about 10 minutes down the road, as per Google Maps, that I feel, just by looking at Google Maps, satellite view, I feel like it's a little bit more promising. So it might not be as nice of a spot, but it'll be more legal, which is probably the number one thing. So that is what I'm going to do. I am now far away from Banff, and I'm not that happy, and I am in fact very hungry, which is a bad combination. So I'm going to get back in the van, hit the road, find that spot, go make something to eat, and yeah, that's pretty much that.
That was pretty much that. I headed down the road a little further, and with very limited options, I eventually found my own little slice of not in Banff paradise. Well, maybe.
Okay, we are at our spot for the night. It is right by a train. There was a little spot on the other side with an RV already in it, but I think I'm gonna pick the one that's by myself, even though it is right by the train. At night, when I'm tucked inside my van, I don't think it'll be as loud, which I think maybe that is just wishful thinking, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna camp here. But anyways, I am hungry, so I'm gonna make a pizza. I have a flatbread pizza that I picked up at the Invermere grocery store. It was one of my favorite parts about Invermere was the flatbread pizzas. So I'm gonna fire one up on the grill right now, eat it, and yeah, that's pretty much that.
That was, again, pretty much that. I got my camp all set up, the pizza on the grill, and got down to some relaxing. And then finally, some eating.
Yeah. Well, pizza is all cut up, and it looks pretty good. Some of them are pretty burnt, and then some of them not that bad. But I guess I'll start with the burnt ones and move to the better ones. It's not bad. A little char adds a little character. A pizza's pizza. So even if it's not the best pizza, it's still good pizza. With that being said, I just looked at reservations for Banff, and I am considering giving it one more chance tomorrow. With that being said, I'm gonna have a think on it, eat some more pizza, listen to the trains roll by, and yeah, I will see you in the morning. Well, good morning. It is fairly late today, but I slept in / stayed in bed because I slept like crap, I guess is the best way to put it. The train was very loud, so every time I went by, it woke me up, and that was a bummer. And then this morning, it was, or it still is, pretty windy. There's pretty big gusts of wind, and I keep hearing them through my vent fan. That's pretty good, right on cue. So it's pretty windy, and last night before I went to bed, I did read there was some Chinook warnings, and it was calling for heavy winds here in Alberta, so this trip goes from bad to worse. But anyways, I did think about it, and I have decided to give Banff another chance, so I booked a reservation in one of the campsites, Tunnel Mountain number 1. So I am going to go back there, and I am camping tonight. There was reservations available. I just couldn't just wing it like I tried yesterday. That was, in hindsight, a mistake. Jasper is not functioning. There's no camping there. So, of course, Banff was going to be extra busy. I should have known, and if I had thought about it harder, I probably would have figured that one out. But anyways, I'm going to give Banff another chance, but I can check in at 2. And I was thinking about doing some canoeing today, but because of the wind, I do not think that's going to happen. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head back to the other parking lot that I thought about sleeping in last night that was day use. And I'm going to go use the bathrooms there, make some breakfast, and then decide what to do.
As I roll out of that spot, I can honestly say that was the worst spot. I'm not sure how to convey just how poorly I slept there, and that poor sleep absolutely laid down the foundation for how the rest of the day was going to go.
Well, this trip continues to get worse. I am now in traffic, but at least there's a sweet Toyota pickup next to me. Anyways, I should have never left BC. Oh my god.
Well, that traffic jam might have not looked that bad. It managed to open up the first crack into my fragile, sleep-deprived mind. But lucky for me, not long after that, I arrived in my parking lot for breakfast, hoping a good meal would reset my crumbling mood.
Okay, major update here. I am in the parking lot of my trailhead. I got breakfast on the go. Actually, it's technically done. But I had a bunch of sausage I kind of need to use today, so I used it all. Now we're gonna have a bit of a feast, some breakfast burritos. Anyways, it's still windy, and the gusts come pretty hard. And honestly, it was a little sketchy driving here because it's like blowing the van with the canoe on the roof all over the road. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do at this point. I don't know if I even want to drive for a while until the wind calms down a bit, which I should probably look. I feel like it's gonna end later, but I'm not really sure. Anyways, I'm gonna sit here, eat my food, catch my breath, and figure out my life, because I'm in a bad mood. I do not know what I'm doing.
So as I made up these breakfast burritos to eat, I'll tell you that they were very good, but they didn't do anything to help fix my rapidly declining mood. And for the next few hours, I just sat in this parking lot spiraling. Everything hit me here. The convergence of the bad sleep, the wind, the fact that I hadn't fully recovered from the Rockwall trail, and being alone for something like 55 days, it all caught up to me in this parking lot. So I had to leave.
Okay, I am officially leaving. I'm headed up to Banff. Still don't really know what I'm doing, but I've just been sitting here in this parking lot chilling, watching the wind, and I'm absolutely over it. So I cranked down the canoe as tight as I could crank it down, and I am not lying, it is very windy. Anyways, I'm gonna get back on the road, head to Banff, and yeah, that's literally the entirety of the plan so far.
The drive from here to Banff was pretty sketchy. The winds had me blowing all over the road, and I was kind of scared the canoe was going to be blown off the roof. But on this drive, I did realize one thing, that I was done. I was ready to go home. Well, I knew I had at least one more thing that I needed to do, but I was definitely not adding anything more to this trip. Earlier, I was contemplating going on a run deeper into Kananaskis country for a few days, but that fell victim of my spiral out in Banff. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to someone. I just want to say that it ain't always roses while living the van life. There are ups and downs, just like anywhere else. You can spiral out in Banff just as much as you can spiral out on the couch. So I gave myself the rest of the night to have a pity party, to do some thinking, and to clear my head for tomorrow. Because I am still in Banff, and this isn't the way I want to remember it. So get it all out tonight, then turn the page for tomorrow. Okay, good morning. I feel better today. It's almost 10 a.m., but it's been raining this morning, so I've just been chilling. But there's thunderstorms last night, pretty good thunderstorms last night, and which honestly, very fitting for this trip. Of course, it was going to be thunderstorms. But anyways, the rain has seemingly stopped, and I do not hear any wind like there was yesterday. So I am in a better mood. I feel like the weather is in a better mood. So what I'm going to do now is head down to the village. I'm going to go grab a chai latte and some breakfast. Frankly, it might be lunch by the time I get there. But we're going to grab a chai latte, something to eat, reset ourselves, and maybe, just maybe, we'll end this trip with a positive Banff memory. So with that being said, let's go down to the village. Well, here we go. Evelyn's Coffee Bar. I got chai latte with cinnamon. Pretty good. Breakfast sandwich, sausage roll. All is right with the world. As I ate my breakfast, I had a bit of an epiphany. Part of why I haven't enjoyed my time spent in Banff is because I haven't embraced Banff for what it is. It's not a place for wild nature getaways. It's for getaways disguised as that. Banff is for food, for drinks, for selfies, and for gentle walks on the riverside. It's not an adventurer's paradise. It's more of a gateway drug. A way to dip your toes in the water without strolling too far from a hotel room, your RV, or a gourmet meal. So to enjoy Banff, you have to embrace that, or you'll be fighting against it the whole time. You have to become one with the tourist. Well, there we go. We're at the Bow River Falls. Looks more like a rapid than a falls, but either way, it's still pretty cool. And if you look over here, I believe that is the Banff Springs Hotel, which I believe is pretty historic. Well, with that being said, now that I've seen the falls and the untamed section of river, I'm gonna go back up closer to town to where I was parked, and we're gonna go canoeing on the tamed section of the Bow River. So with that being said, let's go do that. Okay, we are officially ready to go canoeing. I'm standing on the shores of the Bow River, and I got my canoe and all my stuff ready to go. With that being said, to canoe here, you have to fill out one of these aquatic invasive species prevention permit self-certification, saying basically whatever, canoe's been dry for 48 hours or 30 days or whatever, I qualify. So I have it, which is nice. Anyways, I also, just up there is the Banff Canoe Club where you can get rentals. I do not need a rental because I have a canoe, but I did talk to the guys working, and they gave me advice on what to do. I actually thought you go right down there to the pedestrian bridge and beyond. Turns out that's where the viewpoint that I was at earlier, that's why I went to the viewpoint. Turns out that's that way. So I'm gonna go to the right, down there. You can just take the river for quite a ways, it sounds like. What is that? I think it's ducks. Anyways, you can take the river down a ways, and there's also a creek which leads into some lakes. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do at this point, but I am in parking. That allows me to park for 2 hours. So I have 2 hours to go canoeing, and I'm either going down the river or going into some lakes.
I don't really know, but I want to go canoeing, so let's go.
Canoeing on the Bow River is the perfect way to end my stay in Banff. And being out on the water is a perfect place for me to be after yesterday's episode. Canoeing is my happy place. It's where I want to be. It's where I go to clear my mind and to reset myself. I've been told that because I'm a Pisces, I'm most comfortable on water. I don't really know if that's the reason why, but I am also creative, sensitive, intuitive, and empathetic. So maybe there is something to my birth sign. But regardless, nothing soothes my soul like getting out in the canoe.
Well, I canoed up this... Oh, there's a train coming. I've canoed up this thing for a little bit here, at 2K, I think. Maybe a little less. And I am going to turn around. I was forced to turn around as I stopped paddling for a second to look at my map. And the wind blew me the opposite direction, and it's still blowing me. So I am going to go back. I'm going to head to that creek. I'm going to turn left, try to get into that lake. I think that, well, I just want to do both things. So that's currently the plan. I wish I could see this train. But I can't. Anyway, so I'm going to head back, go to the lake. I believe it's called the Vermilion Lakes. There's one and there's two. So I'm going to go back, see what we can see, and hopefully do that.
Paddling on the Bow River was nice, but it did feel a little aimless. With no real destination I know of up there, I was just paddling around for the vibes. The vibes were nice, same with the fall colors, but knowing that the other direction had a lake to aim for, it was kind of a no-brainer to head there. And if I were to come back here again with the same 2-hour time window, I would just head straight up Echo Creek from the start.
Well, I've arrived at a very large beaver dam. I was warned about this, and I just got to find a way to get around it. But if you look, it is big, but it's crazy because the water is there and the water's there. So it's actually quite an impressive little feat of engineering, if you call it that. But I can walk right on top of it, and it is totally stable. But that's gotta be like 3, 4, maybe even 5 feet of height difference just from beavers with a bunch of sticks and some mud. Anyways, I'm gonna drag my canoe up and over and head down there to a lake. This is pretty sweet though. It is about as Canadian as you get, being in Banff National Park, crossing over a beaver dam. Anyways, let's get a move on.
As I come over that beaver dam and into the Vermilion Lakes, now I'm really starting to get Banff. I'm 45 minutes from the parking lot, and I'm now in an absolutely epic location. I'm totally surrounded by mountains in a lake held up by a beaver dam. Awesome. So awesome that it almost makes up for the roller coaster emotions that Banff has put me on. Almost. Although I'm not quite ready to take back some of the negative things I had to say yet. But I am happy that I can leave Banff on a positive note, and that really was what this trip was all about. And to bring it full circle, I'm going to end this video with what Banff does best. Food.
Well, I'm now officially in Vermilion Lakes, and it is absolutely awesome. I love all the fall colors, and I was going to do a lap around, but my hat blew into the water. So I had to go rescue it, and I feel like that's my sign that I should turn around and start heading home. But before I head home, I have a stock food and drink sandwich. It is a turkey club sandwich. Stock food and drink is at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. So I went in there to buy this sandwich for this canoe trip. I will say, I did feel very poor being in there. But with that being said, I'm gonna do a little quick review of this sandwich, eat it, and then I'll head back. But yeah, for now, let's review a stock food and drink turkey club sandwich. Here we go. Well, strong sticker. Anyways, this is a $17 sandwich. It is quite beefy. Not beefy, it's pork and turkey, but very big. Oh, actually looks pretty good. That's pretty good. Bacon is a little dry, but there's a lot of bacon on there. Quite a bit of meat, lettuce, cheese. Looks like some sort of fancy cheese. Tomato. That's a really good sandwich, and it is very large. So anyways, I'm gonna eat, well, I'm probably not gonna eat this whole thing, eat half of it, and then we'll head back to the van, and that'll be the end of this Banff trip. Full roller coaster of emotions, but nothing soothes your emotions like a big old sandwich.